Guests started calling the front desk because something was wrong with the water. It tasted strange, it smelled foul, and when they turned on the taps, what came out wasn't clear. This was early 2013, right in the middle of downtown Los Angeles at the Cecil Hotel, a massive, densely packed urban environment where routine plumbing issues are a daily occurrence. But what started as a few maintenance requests quickly triggered a massive law enforcement response. Authorities swept the property and locked down the roof, turning a minor guest complaint into an active crime scene. Inside one of the heavy water tanks supplying the building, investigators found a body. It was Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old Canadian tourist who had been reported missing weeks earlier. Finding a missing person under these circumstances is devastating, but the exact location of her body created a logistical puzzle that immediately defied standard investigative logic. To understand why, look at the physical layout of the building. The rooftop of the Cecil Hotel is a highly restricted zone. There is only one solitary path leading from the top residential floor up to the roof access door. That door was completely secured. It was tied directly to the building's security system and alarmed to alert staff if anyone tried to open it without authorization. Yet the alarm never tripped. When investigators examined the heavy door and the surrounding perimeter, they found zero physical evidence of forced entry. No broken locks, no scratches, no signs of a struggle. Even if someone bypassed the door, the water tanks themselves presented another physical barrier. They were elevated, heavily sealed, and required heavy equipment and specialized access that a typical hotel guest simply did not possess. Which leaves an agonizing question. How does a human body enter a sealed tank on an inaccessible roof without tripping a single alarm or leaving a trace of entry behind? The timeline of her disappearance only makes that question harder to answer. Before her body was discovered, Elisa had vanished entirely for days, leaving behind almost no physical clues, only one strange piece of digital evidence. Hotel security cameras captured her inside one of the building's elevators. It is the last known recording of her alive. In the video, her behavior is highly erratic. She steps in, immediately leans over the control panel, and frantically presses multiple buttons across the middle rows. Then she retreats into the corner, pressing herself flat against the wall. After a few moments, she cautiously steps forward. She pokes her head out into the hallway, whipping her head left and right, moving with defensive, jagged steps as if checking for a pursuer. Then she steps entirely out of the cab. Standing in the corridor, she begins making bizarre, sweeping hand gestures, twisting her wrists and fingers in a way that looks like she is communicating with someone. But throughout the entire recording, the camera captures no one else. The hallway is empty. If she is interacting with someone or hiding from them, they never enter the frame. All the while, the elevator itself malfunctions. Despite the buttons being pressed, the doors simply refuse to shut. They shudder, staying pinned wide open, seemingly held by an invisible force. This digital footprint completely fractures the investigation. The calm, undisturbed physical state of the rooftop points toward a quiet accident, but the video tells a story of chaos and an unseen threat. Investigators and online sleuths quickly formed theories to bridge this gap. The most prominent was foul play. Someone, out of frame, was hunting her in the hallway, eventually forcing her up to the roof. A second theory suggested a severe psychological episode. A mental breakdown could explain the paranoia in the elevator, the strange gestures, and a tragic accidental climb into the tank. Then there is the environment itself. The Cecil Hotel sits right next to Skid Row and has a notoriously dark history involving crime and violence, fueling rumors that something supernatural or inherently dangerous within the building was responsible. This chart tests those three main theories: foul play, mental episode, and the supernatural. But when we intersect them with the central data point of the investigation, the locked, unforced roof access, none of them survive the collision. A murderer still has to trigger the door alarm. Someone suffering a mental break cannot lock a heavy exterior door from the outside while leaving no trace. Every logical path hits a solid brick wall. Despite the efforts of local law enforcement, medical examiners, and a massive community of amateur investigators, no single explanation has ever successfully reconciled the elevator footage with the physics of the water tank. We live in an era where nearly every second of our public lives is captured. We carry GPS trackers, log our keystrokes, and live under constant camera surveillance. The terror of the Elisa Lam case is that it proves none of that data guarantees an answer. It shows that even surrounded by technology and other people, a person can slip into a blind spot and vanish entirely into a logical void, which is why that specific footage remains deeply ingrained in internet lore, an empty cab holding open its doors for a passenger already gone. The most unsettling events are rarely the ones filled with monsters. They are the ones where physical reality simply stops making sense, and society is left staring at the evidence with absolutely no answers.